Hey Carl,
Hi.
thanks for joining on the Finders log for May
Finders?
2022.
The Finders log.
Yeah, the Finders log.
The Finders log, yeah.
Busy finding our way.
Yep.
So on the Founders log, we are going to be talking about what we got up to in May 2022.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'll kick it off with we got rid of a client.
Yeah, we did.
It was a very strange client. It was always a very awkward relationship in that they were very Jekyll and Hyde in the way they operated. And you can tell that I actually think they're the worst client we've ever had, because they only joined in January and they got fired by 4 months later
It's
out of a 12-month agreement.
It's a tight line. I'm not going to allow it to be said that they were the worst one. I think there was one worse than this. But I remember when...
I'm not counting the one dayer. I'm not counting the one.
No, that person was worse because their attitude was really terrible. And this business wasn't a terrible attitude, but it was weird. Like, I don't think they should have joined us is basically it.
Yeah,
they probably shouldn't have.
Because they did mess around for a long time before they joined us. And in that process of joining, we had spotted that they'd actually disconnected from us on LinkedIn all over the place. And it was
that's a weird thing to do, isn't it? When you strike up a new relationship and say, I'm going to work with you, then they disconnect from LinkedIn. That's odd.
Yeah, exactly. And then afterwards, it was as I said, Jekyll and Hyde. Some days they'd be perfectly fine. They'd ask a question, we'd give a response back, and that was it. And then on the Hyde days, Hyde's the bad one, isn't it? Jekyll and Hyde. Was it Mr. Jekyll that's the bad one? I've not actually read the book.
I think it's Jekyll that's the bad one. Yeah,
it would make more sense. Yeah. So then other days they'd ask a question and they'd get annoyed that you gave them the correct answer. It's like a gotcha. I always think of it as Noel Edmonds gotcha, but as the old gotcha. But it's more like a journalistic gotcha on a politician, where you're trying to ask a question where you know what the answer is going to be to catch them out, and yeah, they would get quite upset when they got given the correct answer.
Well, that's an old lawyer's technique, James. Any lawyer worth their salt knows never ask a question that you don't know the answer to. Yeah, it's a strange experience, and people like that, it's not going to work out. So you eventually have to fire them, so to speak. So we had a bit of a discussion around it, and we agreed.
The final nail in the coffin was actually because of web filtering. So we'd had web filtering in place for a while, and one day they got very annoyed that a website was blocked for 2 minutes while you unblocked it. It was a false positive. And then they started asking questions about the web filtering and what we block, and why they hadn't been consulted. And my response back was, well, to be honest, I thought you probably would accept, us blocking porn, things that promote drugs, promote terrorism, all that kind of stuff. And I thought it might be a waste of your time and my time if we went through a list of all these things that most normal companies would want blocked immediately. And then after that, they just lost it, and they wanted everything, all the filters turned off, even like botnet protection, all that kind of stuff, everything turned off. And it was like, oh, we can't support you guys on that, because we knew what was going to happen. A few months down the line, they'll get hacked. Everyone gets hacked at some point. They'd have got hacked very likely because they have no web filtering on at all, and they would have come and contacted us and asked us why we've been hacked. And we've been hacked, can you sort it out for us? And we'd be like, well, no, because you asked us to turn the web filter off. Why should we now then spend our time correcting your system when you decided to go against our advice? And that was the final nail in the coffin. We just couldn't support them after that, and we had to end it with them.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about everybody gets hacked, because in the month of May, I got hacked.
You did, didn't you?
Yeah, my Facebook account got hacked. Well, it was an attempted hack, but because I had done preparation, they didn't actually succeed. I made a small error with an old domain name that I used to have, that I let it expire. Somebody bought it up, realized that they could log into Facebook using my kyle.heath at this domain name, and they got attempt to reset my password.
Yeah, it was a very targeted attack as well.
Yes, it was.
It's like they've been waiting for that domain name to expire that you'd forgotten about.
Yeah, because I've used it on social media over the last few years. It was in my consultancy business. However, I got 2FA, so I caught them, and they weren't able to get in. But like we always say, you will get hacked. I got hacked, but I was prepared, and this company were not prepared to have any defenses whatsoever. So they're in big trouble in the future.
Oh yeah.
It's a matter of time before they get done.
It was good to get rid of them when we did.
You can't work with people that don't care for what you do, and there's no point doing it. If you take the money, you'll just have a miserable time for that money. You might as well let them go and let them feel that they're happy, and you get back to do what you do best.
Yeah, exactly. And they'll learn from their mistakes, because they will have problems.
Yeah, then they'll go blame someone else.
Yeah, it's always someone else's fault for people like that.
Yeah,
Always.
somebody else's problem always.
Yeah.
Some people, yeah, you can't ever teach them.
Podcasts. We did 3 episodes of the podcast back in May.
Yeah.
The first one was actually the importance of using two-step verification, which I think was
Oh
probably
man,
linked
that's
into your
so
into your
important.
hacking experience.
Yeah, it is the number one thing that's going to save you bacon, people.
Yeah.
Do 2FA. Please do it.
Yeah, go to I can't remember the name of the website, but we mentioned it in the podcast. There's a website that you can go to that lists all the services that offer 2FA, and you can go there and just turn them on for the ones that you're using.
Yeah, and the majority of the ones that people are going to go for are your socials. So get your socials sorted, you know,
And your
as
email.
well as and your and your email. Yeah,
everything's linked to your email, because that's what all the verification stuff goes to.
Yep.
Next podcast was why your business should be working in the cloud. It was kind of obvious. It's just cheaper. It's more reliable. You've got less things that go wrong.
Yeah, I don't think we need to go through that one again. We're probably better having a podcast if James says why other IT support providers believe you shouldn't work in the cloud.
Yes,
because
that'd be
I know from a Facebook group that I'm in, and it is a global Facebook group of IT people. God, there's so many still doing old school servers and all that stuff, and because their client tells them so.
Yeah, but yeah, they're all anti-cloud, and they are subservient to a client who. It's that thing I was telling you about. Why if you know what you need, why do you have IT support?
Yeah, 100%.
If you come to us, because you want our advice and guidance, so you do what we tell you to do, not the other way around. You don't go to a lawyer,
yep,
and then tell the lawyer how to defend you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you imagine trying to hire a lawyer for a case, going to trial, and then interrupting the barrister constantly. That's not how you do it. Well, I mean, you'd be thrown out of court by the judge because there's actual procedures and rules involved, but they would certainly not take your money.
Final episode of last month was just the how to stop getting interrupted by Windows updates, which we often get people moaning they've been interrupted by a Windows update, but then we go and check their computer, and well, it's because you didn't reboot it for the last 2 weeks. At some point it's going to need to restart, because one, it can only install the updates when the computer's turned on. So if you turn your computer off all the time, it's got no opportunity to use it. And then it's going to need to reboot at some time, because that's what Windows updates do. And it does give you a hell of a lot of warning that it's about to reboot.
Yeah.
And people just get stroppy about it. It's like, well, it's not our problem. So
yeah, but it's just stroppy. People get stroppy.
Yeah. Here's 3 things you can do. We have a blog post that we just send them that has 3 things that we can do, and that normally shuts them up.
Yeah. It's crazy. It'd be like driving around with an electric car or petrol car and go, I ran out of fuel, BMW. I've run out of petrol. What are you going to do about it? You want to fill up some fuel?
New video. So you're still doing TikTok as always.
Yep.
New one every day. Go subscribe.
Yep.
YouTube, we've been regular on our how-to videos. So how to take notes with ease using Google Keep, how to use the @ symbol in Google Docs, how to see who has viewed your Google Docs sheets and slide, which that one actually took off. That one did with traffic and views. How to download a Google Doc into a Word and other formats, and how to change your DNS settings in Windows 11. Always handy when you've got an internet connection problem to just check your DNS and sort it out.
It is actually. It's a very good testing tool when you go, I've got no internet.
Yeah.
It's worthwhile changing that. Stick it on Google's and see if it works, because sometimes it will.
Would you like to know the May assistance and support statistics?
Love to.
You would? That's great news, because I've got them right here. So in May, 57 subscribers got in contact. Out of those getting in touch, 44 requested assistance, and the remaining 13 asked for support where something's not working as it should.
Yeah.
36 out of those subscribers, so 63.2%, sent a message. Who sent us a message, responded to and returned to work within 5 minutes. 35.1%, that's 20 of them, received a reply and returned to their work within under 30 minutes. And then one support case took over an hour to rectify after Windows updates failed to install correctly. And in this case, as you remember, Carl, the end user got quite upset and worried that they'd lost all their work. So I spent quite a bit of time on the phone with them, explaining how the whole system works, and we were able to get their data back. And they were saving their data in the wrong place to start off with, and explaining where they need to. It was a shock for them, and so I spent time rebuilding their confidence, and they've been great since then. That user's been super friendly, super nice, always asking questions when they're not sure about things, and I actually think that's built a good relationship with that subscriber. based on their having a bad experience, but the way we handled it was spot on.
Yeah, that usually does work. Yeah.
95 of the subscribers contacted us through our unique instant messaging service, which is always the fastest way to get a response. In contrast, 2 subscribers opted to log an old-fashioned email ticket.
There's just a couple out there that just won't do it any other way.
Yeah, it's we get so close to 100% on instant messaging. There's always just one that messes up every single month, 1 or 2.
I know they are.
You know who they are.
I know they are. So if they're going to get in touch, that's it. They're going to ruin the stats because they always do.
And overall, we believe that 9 subscribers would not have needed to contact us this month if they'd had regular learning sessions by Kimberly IT, which start at £210, a very reasonable price, and go all the way up to £500, which can have 10 users in each session as well, done by our fantastic trainer, Lauren.
Excellent.
But that's a roundup for May.
Yes.
And we'll be back later this week, well, next week actually, with the first podcast of this month, because I think we missed last week's podcast out.
Did half term.
Yeah, it was half term, so that's why we didn't do it.
Too many children.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So thanks for listening, and speak to you on the podcast or in a month's time if you only watch these videos.
Yes.
Don't subscribe or watch anything else, but you should do, because there's a load of good quality we stick out.
Just watch them.
Watch them and like them.
Watch them and like them and bell them. Thank you.
Yeah, you got to subscribe before you can bell.
Subscribe, then bell.
Exactly. Go for it on all of our channels.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye.